Rev up your engines!
Well, I just can't resist the nonsense that electric vehicle guys are pushing out. Here's an article from Inside EVs by this guy, and it's titled, "The Fiat 500e feels way more comfy this time." The Fiat 500 was a rolling pile of junk in the United States. They hardly sold any of them in the end, except for one model. And, hilariously enough, last year in 2023, they sold a whopping 602 of them, and the year before, in 2021, they sold a whopping 919 of them. So, let's face it, they're basically rolling piles of junk. Well, now they are bringing over the electric version of the Fiat 500. And of course, they're trying to promote it, and they get clowns like this guy to get in them and ride them around. They don't have it for sale yet. They just got demos out, right? But this guy's, praised and saying, it's 2 inches more inside. Now, 2 inches may not sound like much. Well, buddy, 2 inches isn't much, They just keep pushing this crap because, well, one, the guy's writing about EVs. That's how he makes his living, right? And here's how it goes with these guys. I mean, it's such butt kissing. Listen to this. Stellantis communication representative Nick Capra offered an exclusive look for Inside EVs to paw through the 500e before it officially goes on sale. How exciting. Oh, I'm so thrilled about this. Make me throw up, These dog and pony shows these guys put up, it's enough to make you vomit. I mean, that's how these companies work, They put out dog and pony shows, and then media people like this dude who wrote this article just kiss their butts because, they got to see the new one, right? I mean, that reminds me when Ford invited me to the Houston Auto Show, right? And they were unveiling the Mustang Mach-E electric vehicle, right? They had a vehicle. And it didn't even have a battery in it. It's an electric car, right? You couldn't make the noises it made. You couldn't even beep the horn. It had nothing in it. How anybody could even waste their time going to this? I'm just like, well, here's a shell of a car. What am I going to say about it? It's just basically unbelievable. The horse manure that comes out of these guys' mouths, they're trying to search for some reason to say, this is a great car, right? Hey, come on, they sold 600 something of them last year. The gasoline versions, the electric versions are probably even worse than the gasoline ones. Range anxiety, they're still the same tiny little car, dangerous on American highways, to say the least. These guys are searching the bottom of the barrel for whatever they can get. I mean, listen to this. The new 500e is about 2 inches wider and a couple of inches longer than the old 500. Whoop-de-doo, 2 inches here, 2 inches there. It's still a tiny little pile of crap, right? Listen to this nonsense these guys thought. I can't resist. The new 500e feels like it's a completely new league of comfort. Those are not comfortable cars. Bangity bang, they got a tiny wheelbase. You feel every bump in the road in them, right? These guys are right for these places. It's just too much to me. They just kiss the heinies of the manufacturers. Stellantis selling Fiats in the United States, it's a big mistake. Stellantis, listen to me. Give up. How do they stay in business is beyond me. Why they even bother keeping the name up there? I mean, Fiat came to the United States a long time ago. Then they left. They took them all down. Then they came back. Why is big question. Why? I don't know why, but they did, right? To sell like 2 cars per dealership. How they even keep their doors open is beyond me. So all this horse manure about how great the new 500e is, don't listen to a word these people write. Now here's one I can't resist. It's a Tesla fan, and he says, no, the Tesla Cybertruck isn't rusting. Here's what's actually happening. Then in the article, he goes to show you how it actually is rusting. But he doesn't call it rust. These people that buy these Teslas, I swear, they could buy a gigantic cat turd and they would be defending the cat turd. They would find reasons that were positives that they should buy this cat turd, right? Well, listen to this. I mean, if this isn't stupidity itself, he gives you all these, it's not really rusting, but then he says in the article, I'm quoting his article, so in the end, the Cybertruck isn't rusting, but tiny rust spots are forming due to a surface contamination sitting on the body panels. It's not rusting, but tiny rust spots are forming. Now, I call that rust. I don't know what you call it. And this guy obviously doesn't understand the English language if he says it's not rusting, it's forming tiny rust spots. Come on, buddy, get your head out of here behind. These people will do anything to defend these things. I swear, it's become a belief with these people. It's like the religion of the Cybertruck, Maybe they're going to have a Cybertruck god that they pray to. I don't know. But they've certainly lost their minds. The guy's saying, oh, it's not really rusting. But then he says, it's not really rusting. It's forming these rust spots. Well, I don't know. If that isn't rusting, I don't know what is. He goes on to say, well, you get polished off. You can polish it off. You go, yeah, you know what? If you get rusty steel, you can polish it off too if you want. It just shows the guy isn't making the steel correct. It costs a lot of money to make good stainless steel, right? And he's obviously not putting enough nickel in because nickel costs more than steel. So if you don't put enough nickel, it corrodes. I've seen guys in Rhode Island on their fancy yachts, right? The really expensive ones, you don't see their stainless steel hardware rusting, really. But you get on somebody's cheap boat, he's got cheap stainless steel, there's rust all over the place because it was probably made in China and they use just a little bit of nickel and not enough, so then it will rust. So these things are rusting. Contrary to what this guy says, no, my Cybertruck isn't rusting. It's just getting these rust dots. Now, I don't know. These people, they've truly lost their minds. Kylie7 says, I'm looking for my first car. Here are my choices. I'm going to get a second-hand car. A 2014 Mazda 3, a 2012 the 15 Hyundai Elantra, a 2014 Kia Forte. Out of those, buy a country mile, get the Mazda 3. They're decent little runaround cars. The Korean cars are garbage as they age. If you're buying high mileage ones, they're going to be falling apart now or very quickly after you buy it, they will start falling apart. The Mazdas are decent vehicles. Now, personally, I'd say get yourself a Toyota #1 or a Honda. You're going to pay a lot more for it. That's the thing. You know, if you don't have that much money, maybe the Toyotas are going to be out of your price range unless you're talking about a real old one. Now, you say you're in Canada, so, hey, maybe somebody's got a Toyota that's got a little rust and stuff on it. It doesn't look that good, but it might still run really well. It's your first car. Beggars can't be choosers, you know. You might find one that might last quite some time. It's got paint rusted or stuff. What the heck? Buy that instead if you can. All things considered with your choices, definitely go with a Mazda. Don't even think about that junk that Kia manufactures. The Gaster says, where can I buy a used transmission? I got an 01 Honda Accord. It's got 273,000 miles on the body, but only 74,000 miles on the end. The automatic transmission's gone. What is the best website to find a used transmission? Because the rest of the vehicle's good. And I mean, the engine's only got a little over 70,000 miles on it now. All right, here's the thing. You can't trust anybody when it comes to used transmissions. You know, they're all going to lie, cheat, and steal and tell you, oh, it's only got 12,000 miles, blah, 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 blah. The only way you're going to be sure of what you're getting is if you can go to a junkyard and they got the Honda car there that's been in a wreck and you can see the odometer with the mileage on the odometer, and then they'll pull that transmission off of that engine and sell it to you. That's the only way, unfortunately. I'll give you a story. When I was in Houston doing Crank It Up with CBS, I was filming in a junkyard, right? And after the cameraman left, I'm talking to the junkyard owner, right? And I said, gee, I see you got all these transmissions, you know, and you say you got 60,000, 50,000 miles, low mileage used transmissions, right? I said, where'd you find those? And he said, are you going to talk about this on TV? I said, no, I just wanted for information, right? He says, Scotty, all those things have 100 to 200,000 miles or even more on them. But the guy across the street, he puts low mileage on all his used transmissions because first thing they do is pull them out of the wreck, put them inside so the rain doesn't get to them, put them on a shelf, right? He pretends that his are low mileage. He said, if I put the real mileage on these, they'd go across the street and buy his. Oh, his is a lot less mileage on it. They all lie about it unless you can actually see the vehicle with the transmission in it and the mileage. You're just rolling those dice and shaking them, baby, and that's the truth. None of these places are going to be telling you the truth. They all have a tendency of lying because there's no way of proving it. There's no mileage indicator on a transmission, right? The only thing that tells you the mileage is in your dash. And when they got that tranny sending it out to you, you have no idea what mileage on it. They can make up all kinds of stories. The only thing you can do is ask what the guarantee is, right? And if they give you a decent guarantee, at least you got something going there. That's the only thing you can go by, because you couldn't believe what anybody says unless you see it with your own eyes in a local junkyard. There's the car, there's the mileage. Okay, I'll buy that one. Asteroid 90 says, Scotty, I got a Mitsubishi Outlander 2010. The shifter gets stuck in park. Sometimes I get it out, sometimes it can't. I heard that it might be the brake pedal switch or a blown fuse or an interlock switch that's damaged. All right, well, of course. First thing you want to do is step on the brake with the car run, have somebody look at the back. If the brake light isn't coming on, quick checks the fuse, see if the fuse is blown. But of course, course. If the fuse is blown, it's blown for a reason. Something's wrong, probably the switch, right? So replace the switch, just to start out with, because that's the simplest fix. If it's not the switch, it's the wiring between the switch and the interlock shift mechanism on your shifter, or the little motor that pops in and out is broken. Now, that's a relatively expensive repair. Now, a lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll just take it apart, they'll get a hacksaw, and they'll cut that switch off. So then you can shift it anytime you want it. Oh, yes, it's so dangerous. You start your car in park, then you put it in gear, right? That interlock is to keep you from having it drive and starting the car. Well, they're designed anyways. You got to step on the brake to get the switch to go, to get it in drive anyways, right? So step on the brake and you start your car. It doesn't matter if it's in reverse or drive, because you got your foot on the brake anyways. It's not going to move. So if you don't want to spend a bunch of money and it is that switch inside the park assembly that's stuck in, it won't come out, you can just cut it off with a hacksaw and throw it away. It's your car. You can do whatever you want with it. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.